Oh, I guess I'm hosting. My bad. What's up? What's going on, everybody? This is the GoatCast podcast for April 23rd, 2025. I am CW, joined by my esteemed colleagues, Big Nige, Ron Dog. What's going on, the both of you?
Chilling. Always chilling.
Not much for me. Got a birthday coming up on Saturday though, so enjoying the playoffs
Oh,
and
okay.
gonna enjoy my birthday this weekend. So
Getting old, man.
We all getting old. I can attest to that very much. Yeah, doing well. Had some life happening last week, so going through that. But other than that, we're into these playoffs, and we did our predictions last week. We all had a lot of the same. We thought the same teams were going to win, and we had some disagreements. But today we're going to just go through these first round matchups, predict who's going to get through these, and are they going to go what we predicted? Are they going to go less, more? And what we think about each of these series, and just kind of put a case closed on the first round because I don't think some of these are going to be around too much longer. I think we'll see some people moving on by this weekend or early next week. So let's start out west with man, a highly contested series so far. The Memphis Grizzlies against OKC Thunder. Uh Sunday, I believe they lost by what, 50 points the other night,
Oof.
20 something, so it's
Yeah.
it's going really well for the Grizzlies this year. But with that said, what you guys think? Is this a done deal? And what are your thoughts about both teams as we probably come to a conclusion to this fairly soon? Start with you, Big Nige.
yeah, so for me, I think this series is over. I mean, shout out to the Grizzlies. They had a pretty up and down season. I think they look pretty good with their former coach Taylor Jenkins. They definitely one of the most exciting teams in basketball to watch just because they showcase depth and they brought in guys who are like, G League guys like Scottie Pippen Jr., Jay Huff had some moments during the regular season. So you want to give them respect for that. But, they have no shot of winning this series. I mean, they got like you said, they got trounced in game one. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't show up. Desmond Bain didn't show up. Ja had 17 points, but on 17 shots. So it was just really, really ugly. They cleaned up a few things in game two. They showed some more fight, some more intensity. Jaren Jackson Jr., went out there and actually played like he had some sense. Um, but this team is just too talented in OKC. I mean, their star player Shea is not even playing all world, and they're blowing the doors off the Grizzlies. So just want to commend the Grizzlies on their season because they're going home and it's probably going in 4 games.
Well, yeah. Just like what Nigel said, it's gonna be a sweep. It'll take Jesus himself to get out there on that court to give the Grizzlies one game. And then I ain't really got nothing good to say about the Grizzlies. The only thing I gotta say is that the Thunder team, they did a historical stat. Alex Caruso, game one, had a plus 30 on his plus minus without taking a shot, without scoring the ball.
Wow. Wow.
First
He
time,
was
first time
man.
in playoff history, someone got a plus 30 on their plus and minus without taking a shot. So shout out to Alex
That
Caruso.
tells you that tells you how bad the Memphis Grizzlies were Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much to say. It's a done deal. But the Grizzlies show that they were at least a playoff team. So,
Yeah.
you know. So with that said,
He
uh,
said, quote unquote.
quote unquote. But with that said, let's go to the other number one team out east. Heat versus Cavs. Cavs are up right now. I need to go on a little tangent real quick before I let you guys go. When does a number one team be put on NBA TV in the playoffs? Top rated team in the East is regulated to NBA TV. That's not a national, TV cable channel. That's you got to pay into that. You got to buy that channel. Um, yeah, is that to me that's ultimate disrespect. But we're talking about the series here. But they get pushed aside for the number 2 team, Boston Celtics. We know this is a star driven league, so obviously you're going to show your stars. And Cleveland is a small market, but that's just ridiculous that they are on NBA TV as one of the top teams in the league for just because they don't have the stars. But Ron Dog, what you think? Is this
Well,
going to be a series? Is this going to be a series at least?
Miami, they aren't like the other number 8 seed. Even though they lost Jimmy and stuff, they're a more scrappier team. I think they'll get one game, but off of what I've seen in game 1, their bench guy Ty, he had 28 points off the bench,
Mm-hmm.
shooting good, being aggressive, showing that they want it more. I just think the Cavs are going to give them a gentleman sweep, and then Miami's going to have to do something during the offseason to be more competitive.
I agree. How about you, Big Nine?
Looking at game 1 again, noticing that it was on NBA TV. I mean, you don't really got too many, big names, well-coached teams, both of them. But again, you got Donovan Mitchell. You respect the rest of the people on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it's really Donovan Mitchell and the rest. And then Miami, Bam. Maybe you got some Tyler Hero fans out there, but yeah. So I mean, it ain't nothing to really talk about, at least like box office wise. But in the game, I mean, Miami just turned the ball over too much. I mean, they had 14 turnovers compared to Cleveland. So the better team, took care of the ball pretty evenly on the boards. I mean, I know the Cavs hit a few more 3-pointers, but all in all, they shot about the same from the 3-point line, shooting about 42%. But the turnovers to me is what killed Miami. You got Wiggins who get you 14 points. I'm gonna need a little bit more personally for Wiggins going into game 2. You got solid contribution from Davion Mitchell. Honestly, you weren't expecting him to score 18. I know Cleveland wasn't. So that you got that, Bam needs to play better. Hero needs to play better. I mean, 21 points on 18 shots. That's not going to get it done. Bam, 24 points on 22 shots. Again, not going to get it done. You need more efficiency from your top guns. You need a little bit more bench production, like how Cleveland got 28 from Ty Jerome. I mean, you need somebody to come in off the bench and provide that. Donovan Mitchell was lighting them up. Darius Garland, both of them combined for 57 on wicked high efficiency. Like, I think all 3 of those guys we just mentioned shot above 57%. So that's too good. You need to slow some of them down. And going into game 2, like I said, you want to limit your turnovers if you're Miami. You want to slow down either Garland or Jerome, Ty Jerome, because again, those 2 guys can be had when you can be physical with them. It's shown during the postseason that they can be bothered. So you need to kind of rough them up. They were getting to their spots too easy, and it just wasn't conducive of a Miami game plan defensively. So I look for Eric Spoelstra to make some adjustments there. And if you're Cleveland, just keep hunting them. Tyler Hero, that's a walking cone on the defensive end. Keep hunting that, keep executing, and just, again, make sure you limit your turnovers and just capitalize on that experience. Cavs in 5.
Those guys definitely took advantage of Hero being a cone. I swear,
Yeah.
I saw so many times he got blown by an easy layup.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not like the Heat. I mean, Garland's a small guard, so you would think they would kind of rough him up to keep him off his sweet spots and just kind of muck up the game a little bit, to fit their style. Bam, he's a physical guy, can guard multiple positions, and they just didn't bring it. Is Cleveland that good, or is Miami just not up to par? I think we'll see in the coming games. Cleveland didn't impress me that much. They're good, but I still wasn't super impressed with him. DeAndre Hunter is still a wonderful pickup for them, I believe. I don't know how Atlanta let him go. But yeah, I mean, this is I think the Heat are good enough where they can steal one game. I don't think this is not the Thunder Grizzlies. This is, it's a little more tightly contested, and I think that the Heat, the Heat can somehow pull one, not two, but one game off of them, especially when they get home. That crowd will pump them up, and I think they'll hit shots. That's the key for them. If they can hit their shots, and Cleveland they can be streaky at times, and they shoot a lot of perimeter shots. So if they're not clicking there, they're beatable. But back to the tirade real quick, because I want to ask you guys this. Now, if this was LeBron in Cleveland, that would be on TV. That would be on TNT or ESPN or ABC, obviously. But my question is, does your sport stay genuine to the sports aspect? I know ratings are important. I know watches and all that, and you need views, but you can't put your number one team on a non-network, non-big channel and expect to be genuine to your sport. The NFL, but they're different. None of those sports are going to put their number one team on PBS. I mean, even though everybody has PBS, but they're not going to put it on something like that. They're going to put it on the major network. So do y'all think that's something that the NBA can do better at, because they've had some rough patches? Or do you think that's just par for the course? They got to get the views, they got to get the ratings, so they're going to keep teams that draw that on these major networks?
I think Cleveland being a 47-win team last year, I think that they don't believe in the hype to put them up there yet. They have to see how a couple series go.
Yeah,
I think it's par for the course. I think Cleveland is still establishing themselves. Like, yes, they've been to the postseason a few times. Yes, they put on some impressive seasons under their belt. But when you talk about that, appeal, that box office, stardom, Donovan Mitchell, he can be that guy, but you still need the other pieces to show and come into their own. Like, you need to have Garland as a staple, Mobley as a staple, Jared Allen as a staple, and then the pieces around them. If you're going to make this kind of like a dynasty thing, they need to go out and win. Once they, get the winning behind them, then that's when you're going to start seeing the NBA push them more. And I understand they're a small market team, but you have to win. Like, yes, they're doing good in the regular season, but it has to translate to postseason success. And it starts really by dismantling a respected team like the Miami Heat and putting yourself on the map, like OKC's doing, beating the doors off of the Grizzlies.
So one last piece to this that I want to ask. This is just something I was thinking about. So say Cleveland with LeBron was the 4th seed, and they're going on at 7, and the number 1 seed, Tim Duncan and San Antonio Spurs, are playing. Which one gets the TNT slot? Which one gets the NBA TV slot?
The Spurs ones gets the bigger slot.
So you think the Spurs
because Tim Duncan never missed the playoffs. I mean, come on.
But this is LeBron James. LeBron James.
He is. But
in Cleveland. So you
but at that time, during that part, the Spurs were just better known. LeBron just came back from Cleveland, trying to make them look good.
Okay. So
no, absolutely not. No.
And there's the
LeBron is he is the epitome of that box office stature. And if your team is somewhat relevant and you have the face of the league, they're pushing that regardless. Regardless, if the Cleveland Cavaliers were like a 40-win team, but they're still in the running for a postseason run, oh, how far can LeBron James take them? Boom. They're getting that spot on his name alone, no matter if his teammates are hot garbage. That's just how the league operates.
Okay. And that's because of the narrative, or that's because of the player? Like the narrative, can LeBron do this, or because it's LeBron?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like if you have like a player who's like of that caliber, like an MVP caliber guy, but you also have the narrative to back it. You know, the kid from Akron and he's the king and all this stuff. It
Mhm.
all like boils up. How far can he take this sorry squad of players? You know, can he take them out of the first round, second round to the finals? You know, you want to watch that because even though this version of the Cleveland Cavaliers is nice, they have a bunch of nice pieces around. Nobody really stands out because it's like a team aspect instead of like a this guy is the reason why this team is where they are. That's just narratively. That's just how the league, even though I don't agree with it per se, because you would want to see a team of good players together, you know, everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, and then they, you know, win as a team instead of one guy who's, you know, monopolizing the ball and doing all those things. But that is what draws, you know, eyes to the sport. They like that one guy who you can count on, punch it in the ticket, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, take us there. Instead of 20 and the rest of the team gets 15, 15, 18, you know, that it just doesn't appeal to the fan as much.
Okay, I'm gonna move off of this, but this brings up a good topic in the future. Is the NBA a little WWE-ish? Is this a little, you know, is it's about names and the draw of the story than the actual game itself? But that'll be a topic for another day. So let's talk about another series. The number 2 Celtics taking on the 7 seed Orlando Magic. So far it's 1-0. Celtics look good in their first game. So do you guys think this is another one that could be over, that could be you know, a back and forth kind of series? Or, you know, we know tonight Jason Tatum's out, so that could be a factor. So what do y'all think about this series? Is this series going to, you know, bring some excitement, or is it going to be another dull one where one team just outmatches the other?
Well,
and what's up, Xenonite? We'll let you join up in a little while.
I think, you know, Celtics won game 1, but only a couple people look good. Jason Tatum shot bad. Brown shot bad. If it wasn't for White and Pritchard, they wouldn't have won that game. They are just lucky Magic can't score very well. But
that's Cino. Okay. What's going on, Cino?
But tonight, the Magic might be able to sneak a game maybe with Jason Tatum out there. You know, we just got to see if Paulo and Franz can actually be consistent scoring tonight.
Big Nige?
For me, I think the first half of game 1, it was kind of like fool's gold, if I'm being honest. I mean, nothing was really going right for Boston. You know, they're missing, you know, uncharacteristically, they're missing a lot of shots, a lot of layups. Tatum wasn't looking good. Brown wasn't looking good. We understand that. Derek White was keeping them afloat. Peyton Pritchard keeping them afloat. But for me, it's like you got 2 guys in game 1 who shot 51 of your 81 shots. And are we expecting Franz and Paulo to carry this offense? Not if you want to go far in this postseason to even challenge the Celtics. Like, you need your other guys to be involved. I didn't like, you know, Franz taking 24 shots, Paulo taking 27 shots. I mean, the 2 guys taking almost over 2/3 of your, you know, shot attempts. Like, that's just too much. So can they, you know, share the ball? Can they get the others involved? We understand Franz and Paulo are great, you know, solid pieces. But again, you need KCP, you need Wendell Carter Jr., Black, Joseph, you know, even Jonathan Isaac. Like, you need other people to contribute, because at this point they're just spectating. They're just watching the Paulo and Franz show. That's just not good offense to me, and that's conducive of why they were struggling so much, is because the defense only had to look at Franz and Paulo. That's it. So, you know, is this, I mean, yes, like Tatum and Brown, they will, whenever Tatum comes back, whether it's game 3 or whatever, Brown will be better. He's actually already playing better right now, currently in game 2. But, you know, I think if I'm Boston, I'm fine with Franz and Paulo doing this thing, because it's not going to translate to winning basketball. I'm sorry. It's going to look really good if I'm missing shots, if I'm the Celtics. But as soon as I start getting into my offense, we're going to blow doors off them, which is exactly what they did. if I'm Orlando, someone else besides France and Paulo, please. Like, you got KCP here for a reason. He had some nice shots in the first half. Where were those shots in the second half? Non-existent. You need to limit your turnovers, because 15 turnovers to Boston's 9, it's not going to get it done. So you couple those things together, you get some better shot distribution along the team, because some of these guys in Orlando can play, they can score. They need more shots to do those things. So I need someone else to score. I need you to take care of the ball, Orlando, and then you might be able to challenge Boston and get this to under 10 points, but you're still going to lose. So Celtics in 4. Holiday was locking up Paulo and France. So at any point, if they're going too crazy, you could just throw Holiday at one of them and good night. Celtics in 4.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty much the perfect assessment. They're a 2-man team. When you have a 2-man team and neither one is like a Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, LeBron James type, I mean, that's not, like you said, that's not winning basketball. That's just going to get you blown out. You might get a 15-point blowout. So you might keep it that kind of close, but you just have two guys trading buckets. Like you said, throw Drew on them, you negate one, and the other one, it's hit or miss. So, this is Celtics. If the Celtics lose a game, it's because the Celtics didn't execute, or the Celtics shot their way out of the game. I think, that's going to be the key going forward. Is the Celtics, they love to shoot, but they have some great shooters. I mean, props to Peyton Pritchard, who we both, I believe, said would be 6th man of the year. He is the official 6th man of the year. So congratulations to him. And I think he's going to keep being that perfect man off the bench, that Ginobili type guy that can come in and spark the team and keep the team afloat, when you have to move guys around. And with Tatum, on the mend with his wrist, and, Brown having some issues, that's the perfect recipe for a team that will need those guys later on, but can get through games early on against these lesser teams. So he's going to be a perfect asset for them. Yeah, I don't see this going. I think the Celtics will eke out every win. I think this will go 4. Might be some close games, but I think the Celtics are just a little too much for the Orlando Magic with how they're currently constructed. So I think this one's pretty much over. But
shout out to defense, though. Shout out Orlando's defense. They are doing amazing, though. Just need a little bit more creativity on offense.
Okay, well that kind of bleeds into the next series. Orlando, solid defensive team, but struggles on offense. Let's talk about the Warriors and the Houston Rockets. Right now, the Warriors are up 1-0. Looked like they were just going to totally blow them out that first game, but the Houston's defense actually got them back into the game. But as I said in my predictions last week, they have to score by committee. That's Houston. They don't have that one guy that can just go out there and get you 30. So they have to. And when you got Amen Thompson out there smoking layups, and and Green out there shooting and missing everything, I mean, you're not going to win, especially against a seasoned Warriors team like that. That's just you're just going to get, even if the Warriors aren't playing good, they can make shots where you guys struggle. So what do you guys think about this series? I know I picked the Warriors, and I believe Rondo picked the Rockets. One of you guys picked the Rockets, I believe.
I think Nigel picked the Rockets.
Yeah,
Big Nigel. Okay, yeah, I remember the insanity.
I think I did pick the Rockets. Yeah.
Okay, so Big Nigel, you picked the Rockets too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm the only Warrior. Okay. So what do you guys think? I mean, you're down. The team you picked is down 1-0. They didn't look very great offensively, but their defense did come through for them for a burst of time. Are you still confident in that pick?
Not after the first game. At least I'm not. Playoff Jimmy proved me wrong that first game, because they spent so much time worrying about Curry that Jimmy was starting to score, and then they try to get the best defender off of Curry on to Jimmy, but then Curry gets the ball and scores. you can't just try to switch defenders back and forth. You got to keep your two best defenders on them. You have to. If not, it's not going to go well. Rockets, just like you said, they don't have that one guy. They got a bunch of guys who could all score, but not efficiently, or as so far as it been not in the clutch.
Mm-hmm.
So my pick for the Rockets, yeah, I'm a little worried right now, but we got to see what happens game 2 for it to be
So,
completely.
but who do you got now? Do you have?
I am still gonna go Rockets in 6.
Rockets
I'm gonna keep it as the Rockets right now, just until I see more.
So when we record next week, you think it's still going to be an ongoing series, or will this series be over? But you said in 6, so
I think
depending on
this
how the
series
days
is
go.
still gonna go.
Okay.
I think this series is still gonna be there.
All right. Big Nige.
I'm not really shook. Honestly, I feel like my pick feels a little bit safer. I still said Rockets in 7, and yes, that would mean that you'd have to trust these young cats against an experienced Steph Curry, a playoff Jimmy. I hear you. All right, but one of the things that I took away, because I understand, like, Curry, Jimmy Butler played great. The rest of that roster, again, one of the things I was concerned about for the Warriors, those others. I mean, Podziemski had 14, but
he played well.
And he played well, and he was rebounding the heck out of the ball too. But again,
6.
those others, I'm just a little suspect on. Whereas you got Houston, like you said, they score by committee, but the rebounding advantages that they have, I mean, 52-36. I'm sorry, they lost. I understand, but you can't tell me that Jalen Green and Van Fleet is going to combine 7 for 34 every time. Right, they both shot historically bad. 3 for 15 from Jalen Green, I think 4 for 19 from Fred VanVleet, Steady Freddie. I don't expect them to be this bad. Now, I'm not saying they're going to come out there and drop 30 apiece, but they can do better than 7 for 34. So they shot really bad. This is a 10-point game. They came back with their defense. You still have a really big advantage in Sengun. One of the tweaks I would do if I'm Houston, let Amin Thompson bring the ball up. You at that point you eliminate the roamer, which would be Gary Payton, Draymond Green. Like, they're kind of blowing up the plays in real time because you got Amin Thompson, who's a non-floor spacer. You put him on the ball, and that allows the Jalen Greens, the Fred VanVleets, the Dylan Brooks. They can be floor spacers and allow a little bit more room to operate for Amin Thompson, for Sengun, in the low block. Again, with Sengun, he played a really good game, 11 for 18 from the field. I don't want him kind of facing up too much. I kind of prefer him with his back to the basket. So I look for them to maybe make that adjustment. Probably going to bring in some more Steven Adams minutes because he was a monster on the boards, which is what I predicted. But again, we're going to, see that as it progresses. I still don't trust the others for Golden State. I still think Jimmy and Steph Curry are going to be amazing. But again, the other guys, this was a very winnable game for Houston, and I anticipate that they're going to even this series up 1-1 in their next game because, again, they shot really bad. I'm not saying they're going to shoot lights out, but they will shoot better. And I think if their defense holds up with the amazing coaching that they'll get from Ime Udoka, who I think is a better coach than Steve Kerr, bite me.
What?
So I'm still standing back with Rockets in 7. I still think that it will go the distance, but I think the stamina and the fresh legs of the young cats are going to take out this group of old heads. That's what's going to happen.
I get where you're coming from, but saying that Kerr is not a better coach is blasphemy.
Did you not see the Olympics?
Did you not see his 4 rings?
Can you not justify playing Jason Tatum in the Olympics?
They actually didn't need him.
Over Derek White?
Did they not come home with the gold?
They did, but I mean, how do you not play Jason Tatum? I'm sorry.
He probably has a personal he probably got a personal thing with him or something.
I mean, Jason Tatum gave him a ring, so I don't know why he'd have a personal vendetta against them. He basically gift wrapped the Warriors their ring.
He did,
The way he
but
played in the finals, if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm playing Jason Tatum hella minutes because of that. It personally, but that's just me.
maybe if you saw Jason Tatum shooting the first game of the series, maybe that's why he didn't play him during
Derek
the
White didn't
Olympics.
shoot no better in that Olympics, if we're gonna be honest. He wasn't really playable, but okay.
I mean, I gotta kind of agree with Big Nige. I would take Udoka over Steve Kerr, just for the X's and O's and the defense. Like, he's a guy that can turn a mediocre team like that. I mean, not mediocre. I'm not gonna call them mediocre, but they're not superstars. They don't have many superstars on that Houston team. But he can make them look like the second best team in the West, which
Their offense is
currently are.
mediocre. I'll tell you that
They are.
much.
Yeah, their offense is mediocre, and they're not. You look at the names on the page, and you're not going to be like, this is the number 2 team out west when you got all these other, Jokic's and LeBrons and Lucas, and the list goes on. Steve
Rockets.
Kerr
Mhm.
is great. I'm not going to say he's not good, but he's iffy sometimes. His rotations can be a little bit. His rotations can be iffy to me sometimes. He can fall in love with something that he shouldn't fall in love with when it comes to certain players, and he will look past players that could really help him.
Like Kuminga,
Jonathan Kuminga, who averaged 21 on the Houston Rockets, while your boy Steph Curry only averaged like 16. The man scored 3 points on them one time. So, I kind of agree with the Udoka statement, but this series, I mean, y'all, I give y'all props. Y'all have a lot of faith in some very young guys. Good coach, but you have faith in some young guys against a veteran team with a known champion, a guy that got a Miami Heat team to 2 finals, with Boston Celtics were out there during that time. Giannis and his boys, they did that against some solid teams. So you got some guys that know how to win, and that's going to be the key to the series. When you have players that know how to win, that's tough to beat for guys that don't or struggle with that. So I'm gonna stick with the Warriors in 6. I think Houston, their defense is just too good to just get swept off the court or even a gentleman's sweep. I think they're good enough to sneak some out. But I just think when it comes down to it, you got guys that are veterans that know how to win, know how to, even when they're in adversity, they know how to dig their way out of it. You saw that, Curry was getting, they were really, messing it up for Curry during that stretch in the third and beginning of the fourth, but he found his rhythm. He got his shots off, and the game was over. So I think that's going to play a big part in this. And I say by next Wednesday, when we probably record, that series will be over. So
wow, that's a bold statement. That's a bold statement.
That's my assessment. We'll see tonight. If the Warriors go up 2-0, the series is over because they have pretty much taken all the home court away from Houston. So tonight will be a big game. If the Warriors walk away tonight, it's over.
Okay.
So with that said, the next series is probably the most talked about one so far.
Yeah.
I must say, when it comes to home cooking, last night, Lakers have a big family, so it was a lot of home cooking for that stadium. That's all I'm gonna say. There was a lot of home cooking for that stadium. But right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Los Angeles Lakers tied 1-1. A lot of people didn't give the Timberwolves much chance in this series. They came out, smacked them in game 1 on Saturday night. Came back last night. They got smacked around. We had NBA/NFL for most of the game where, LeBron James was out there pushing guys around, Austin Reeves, Luka was just jumping into guys, getting foul calls. We know that we know the routine. I mean, FT said yesterday before the game that they're not going to let the Lakers lose this game. So with that said, I picked the Lakers in 6. I believe we all picked the Lakers. I believe Rondell picked them in 5.
Yes, I did.
So we might need to play that, that remix with Shannon Sharp. But so do we all feel confident in our predictions? Is what I want to say. And how do you feel about this series so far? Let's start with the
So
Laker
much.
fan himself, Big
Yeah.
Nige. What do you think so far with this series?
Man, this series has been ugly. I'll be honest with you. These games have been pretty hard to watch. So much so that sometimes I have to watch like game one. I couldn't watch it in real time. I had to let the game go and then watch it after the fact because it was just ugly. The Timberwolves hit like a franchise record, like 21 threes. They shot 50% from 3-point range. I mean, anybody who shoots like that, you're probably going to win. And of course, Reed was out of his mind. I mean, Nas Reed was out of his mind. Jaden McDaniels turned into Steph Curry. I mean, it was just terrible. I mean, Ant-Man 22-9, like it was just bad. LeBron didn't show up in game one. AR was egregious. Luka played good, but again, it just wasn't enough. He didn't have any help. So you look how game one was. I'm not going to say it was an aberration because a lot of those shots that the Wolves were taking, it wasn't like the Lakers were just making them hit tough shots. I mean, they were just watching them shoot quite literally. So they just made them pay. They beat them up on the glass, which is something that was a concern for me going into the series. So yeah, they dismantled the Lakers in game one. Game two wasn't like a epiphany game for any Lakers fans. I mean, it was ugly, and how they won, kind of surprised. I mean, yeah, they were beating on them for most of the game. Yes, the Wolves went on a run toward the end, which prompted the viral, JJ Redick cussing them out, saying what the bleep are y'all doing? Rightfully so. But neither team shot the ball well in game two. The Lakers were a little bit more physical. They responded with that urgency on the glass. Both teams really didn't take care of the ball too well. But the others didn't show up for Minnesota like they did in game one. Game two, I mean, McDaniels, Reed, they're basically no shows. I don't even know what their stats were, but they weren't good. Ant-Man, had the points, not really efficient, but no assists. You're not getting your teammates involved. You're easy to game plan, easy to scheme for, and that's what the Lakers did. I'll give Julius Randle some love. I know I've been one of his biggest critics. But Julius Randle's looked really good this series, honestly. And he hasn't been a slouch on either end. So he's been locking up, D'ing up, guarding LeBron. He'll guard Luka sometimes. I mean, he doesn't really do good on the Luka matchups, but the LeBron matchups, he's looked pretty solid. So I got to give him his respect there. So with all that being said, I mean, LeBron had a slightly better game. I don't think he's had a great game this series yet. I look forward to him putting up a better performance on the road. Same thing with Austin Reeves. And, Jackson Hayes, listen, hey, JJ, it's his time, man. Just go ahead and sit him down. He's not ready. He hasn't looked ready all series. He's not going to be ready, especially on the road. Just go ahead and just start LeBron or Rui at center, bro, and just bring Finney Smith.
Yeah, they are baiting him. They are baiting Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes, your time is done for this round. Maybe next round you might be a little bit more effective, but Jesus Christ, get him off the floor. Foul trouble was the thing for game two. So we're looking at this now in totality. Do I think the Lakers will take this in 6? I still do. I think Minnesota isn't the strongest home team by no stretch of the imagination. We've seen Jokic and Denver take them out at home before. We saw Luka and the Mavs do it. So they can be beaten. Can this Lakers team beat them? I think they'll split them. Personally, I think they'll split the games and go 2-2. And then after that, I think that's where the Lakers will drive the momentum and take them out in 6 games. But it won't be pretty, and it will be by the skin of their teeth. But I still got Lakers in 6.
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know how game one went, just as Nigel was talking. But the thing that Ant-Man shouldn't have did during game one, he was poking the bear at Luka and LeBron. You can't do that because we've seen in the past years, you poke at either one of them, the next game they're bound to go off. Which Luka didn't have as many points, but Luka was getting more rebounds and more assists. LeBron was getting started early, and then that's what they needed. And then, Ant-Man just has to be more consistent. He has to get his people going more. Nas Reed wasn't the 3-point god like he was in game one. And then, it just comes down to execution at that point. I mean, as Nigel knows, I call Luca their great white hope. He is going to end up carrying that Lakers team probably to maybe the Western Conference Finals. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. The way they playing, I don't know if they can.
I don't
They
know,
might
man.
squeeze out the first round, but if they play
We might
like
have to
this
see.
against, they're gonna get going home in the second round.
Yeah.
Okay, before I go any further, how about answering King Speech's question, Big Nine? Since you are the resident Julius Randle fan, since you are the Julius Randle fan, what do you think about that question?
I mean, is the narrative dead? I can't summarily say it's dead, but he's definitely doing the right things to dispel that narrative. I'll say that because you still have a track record of playoff drop-offs. We don't need to get into the X's and O's because we can go that route one day if we need to. But right now, currently, yes, he's playing very well on both sides, and he deserves all the praise in the world.
Okay, well, I mean, I still feel fairly strong with my assessment, with my pick, and the three refs on the court. Yeah, King Speech. They had a big help in the game too. I will say that. And this series is kind of weird to me, but what I said last week has held true. Whoever wins the 3-point matchup is going to win the game. Minnesota won game one because they could hit the threes. They were hitting their shots. Game two, the Lakers weren't like lights out or anything, but they were hitting their threes, which in between these two teams, that's going to be a major factor because if one team goes hot, 9 times out of 10, the other team's going cold because they're just not, efficient 3-point shooting teams other than Luka. It's probably their most efficient player between the two, Ant-Man for the most part. So whoever wins that matchup wins the games, and that's been true so far. And I think that will be true as we move forward. But like Big Nine says, the Lakers look very good coming into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're looking they were looking Superman-ish. Now they're looking like, one of us humans right now. They're looking like they're very beatable. And when you look at the Avengers-like team of the OKC Thunder, I don't think they're gonna puff out the chest too much going into that series, because if they're looking at what those Thunder are doing, and it's a lot of it's defense, because I watched them just kind of stifle the Grizzlies and just be in the passing zone like crazy. That's going to be tough for the Lakers moving forward. I'm still going to take Lakers in 6. And they're going to have to, if I'm the Lakers, I'm praying for a Warriors. I mean, I'm praying for a Houston win against the Warriors, because I don't think they want the Warriors either. Because if Minnesota killed them from the 3-point line, imagine what Steph's going to do to them. So, so if I'm the Lakers, we got to get this done, and we got to hope, and Clutch Sports might need to talk to the refs for those Houston Golden State games, and slide them a few mil and get those games a little closer. But I will say, I think this ends in 6. I think, matter of fact, the Lakers will win the next game and maybe lose the second game in Minnesota, and then I think the Lakers finish it off from there. But that's just my assessment. I think the Minnesota will give their own version of home cooking in one of those games to kind of help the Timberwolves get one over on LeBron and the boys. But this is a good series, I think, so far. Like you said, it's ugly. It's a lot of, the offense looks, I don't know, it just looks stagnant at times for both teams. Luka monopolizes the ball. He's taking all the shots. And on the other side, Ant-Man doesn't know where to go to, so sometimes he'll just drive. And surprisingly to me, again with Big Nige, Julius Randle seems like the most confident player on the Timberwolves right now, which is crazy. But he just seems extremely confident. And he was blowing by LeBron a few of those times and getting right to the basket. So, if he continues to do that, and they can just get Ant-Man going early, and they can get McDaniels just a few shots. Conley, he's it's just time to head on into the sunset. But Alexander Walker, one of those guys, you can just get them going a little bit. I think they have enough to steal these games, but you just got to have more than Ant-Man. And if Julius Randle is your number one option, you're in trouble. So, I'm not going to give him the kind of trouble that Big Nige does. But yeah, if he's your go-to guy, yeah, you're one and done in the playoffs. But so we're still keeping up. We're all confident in our Lakers prediction. So we'll move on from there. Another good series. I'm sure King Speech. He's down in the chat right now. I'm sure he's feeling not the greatest right now. A very physical, very, very physical series so far. The Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks, they're currently tied 1-1. The Knicks showed their veteranship in the first game. Second game, Detroit took it to them, and it just seemed like the Knicks just couldn't get going towards the end. It was just, Detroit was just one step ahead. So, I believe I picked the Knicks. I believe you all picked the Knicks, matter of fact.
No. I picked the Pistons. I had Pistons in 6. Hold up.
So now. He went on. He was the one that jumped off the cliff and said, "I'm gonna go."
Jumped off the cliff
with the Detroit Pistons, the young guys.
I guess you must have been snoozing during game 2. Then I guess.
I said this was going 7. I think this is a back and forth. This is going to be a good series because Cade Cunningham is showing that, like Zeno said, Cade Cunningham is showing that he belongs in the with the superstars. I was going to say that too, King Speech. Yes, he's getting a lot of superstar calls. I would say, especially in game 2, he was. I'm not going to say he was flopping, but he was, he's a physical player. So he was drawing contact and, that contact was leading to free throws. So, so Cade Cunningham, this is his coming out party as far as I see for the Detroit Pistons. But Big Notch. Well, now let me start with Ron Dog because since he's the one that picked the Detroit Pistons to win this.
Did. That's right. Yes, I did.
So how do you like this series so far?
The series.
Are you confident?
Yes, I'm still very confident. I think if Pistons take game 3, that's going to give them the momentum to keep driving. But game 1, Knicks got them. Cat and OG and Brunson, they all were doing the thing. Game 2 though, Cat didn't do nothing. Brunson shooting way too many shots. And Cade did his thing. He had 33 and 10 assists. Yeah. And then a addition to the Pistons that nobody was considering that could happen. Dennis Schroeder coming with that clutch 3 at the end to help him get a 3-point lead, which gave him the momentum to go up by 5 or so to close out the series, or to close out game 2. I mean, not the series. So, and then also Cat game 2, the last time he shot the ball was 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and then he never touched it again.
No show. Brunson capitalized.
I mean, it's not really Cat's fault. It's Brunson's fault. Brunson, after missing 3 or 4 shots, he should have tried to get another look to get somebody else going. But Brunson, he thinks, I am the team superstar. I have to shoot the most shots to try and help us win, which really just helped them lose that game.
Big Nine, are you confident that the Knicks will get it together to finish this one off?
Yeah, I still think the Knicks are going to take them. They just game 2, they just gave this one to the Pistons. Cade was phenomenal. Don't get it twisted. Schroeder hit a big shot there at the end, but New York they just sold. Big body Brunson, they can't do nothing with him. All right, he's just been that guy. He's going to continue to be that guy. And yes, to Ron Dog's point, he probably could get the others involved a little bit, but when Mikal Bridges is shooting a stinker, OG probably ain't touched the ball in a good quarter and a half. If I'm Brunson, who you want me to throw it to? You want me to throw it to Cat, who had like 10 points, who wasn't being aggressive, was getting manhandled by young men amongst boys over there by Duran and Tobias Harris was guarding him for crying out loud, and he just wasn't taking advantage. So I don't think Cat's going to continue to play that soft, but for game 2, I can't really fault Brunson because it was him. It was either him or it was over. So how I see the series going from here, I think the Pistons are definitely getting enough help from the other guys. We saw game 1, Hardaway, Beasley, they did pretty good. Tobias Harris dropped 25. And then game 2, you got 15 from him. You got a 20 piece from Schroeder. You're getting enough from the other guys, but now you're going home. And now these role players, these Malik Beasleys, these Tim Hardaway Juniors, they in theory should play better. So I'm expecting the Pistons to make this a series. It's probably going to be 2-2 afterwards. And this is why I think the more experienced ball club will start to show. And this is why I'm going to have the Knicks slightly edging out the Pistons. I think if the Pistons just had like one more reliable piece that you could bank, surefire 15, 20 a game, I think that would be enough to take them out, the Knicks. But I think the Knicks, if they clean up a few things, they could really, take this series under control. So I have the Knicks in 6, and I think the other guys like the Mikal Bridges, the OGs, Cat will play better, and that'll be the difference when this series goes the distance.
Well,
I have to agree. I'm going to stick with my Knicks in 7. I just think they do have they're veterans. Cat was in the conference finals last year. Brunson took them as far as he could until he just ran out of gas last season. But I just think they know what to do. They know playoff basketball. They got a solid coach. Detroit is they're able to match some of their energy. They're able to match physicality with physicality, and Cat doesn't always do well with that kind of thing. So I think they can frustrate Cat, and Brunson, he's going to keep Brunsoning. Will that lead to wins? We'll see. But I think that ultimately the Knicks will pull it together. I don't know. I mean, I can see Detroit. Well, I'm not going to say that. I won't say they go up 3-1. I just don't see that. But, I could see them having some tough games at home against these Knicks teams. And it's going to come down to execution. And like Zeno said, Brunson's got to pass it to Cat. Even if Cat's having a bad night, you got to pass the ball, because if Detroit only has to worry about one guy, even though that guy's really good, I mean, that's not, you're not Kobe, you're not Jordan, you're not LeBron, you're not these guys. So you can't take that type of pressure on by yourself, especially when you're somewhat of an undersized guard. So, I think that the Knicks will get it together. I think they're good enough. OG was not quite the greatest last night or the night before, whichever night they played. But I think he's going to have to be more efficient. Mikal Bridges is, gone missing a little bit. They need him to hit shots. So I feel strong with my Knicks assessment. I see these guys going crazy in the chat. That's what I'm eyeing. Zeno and King are going at it with this Detroit Pistons Knicks series. But I mean, that's some passionate fans. We like that. But yeah, I still think the Knicks are going to win it. But I think this is a coming out party for Cade Cunningham. He looks very comfortable in the role of being the man for the team. I think he's going to put the team on his back throughout this series. I just don't think he has that kind of pedigree yet to do that. But he will. I think if Detroit keeps on doing what they're doing, they're going to be a very dangerous team going forward in the West. And I mean, not in the West, but in the East. And I think that teams will pay attention more to that Detroit team going forward. So unfortunately, I have to drop off. You want to put the link out there for the guys, or?
Yeah, we can drop the link.
Or y'all want to continue? Okay. But we're gonna move on, though. We're gonna move on. I know you guys are interested in this Knicks series, but we're gonna move on to the next series.
Dogs are about to come out for Pistons, man. They're young and hungry.
So we're moving on to the Bucks versus Pacers. I
Yeah,
unfortunately got the
serious.
drop off. So you guys let us know who you got. And I think we all pick the Pacers, or
I believe so.
I think I picked the Pacers.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us gave the Bucks a chance. So how do you think will the Pacers finish this off, or is this going to actually be a series at some point?
Tyrese is being like he was playoffs last year. He's a lot more aggressive now. He's scoring better. I think it's either 4 or 5 games for the Pacers, really, because if Giannis isn't playing good, the Bucks ain't playing good. That's about it, really.
I think for me, I just think the Pacers are just superior. They've just shown to be more reliable on the offensive end, and they've shown that they can get stops on the Bucks more time because the Bucks can't stop them. Like whatever defense that they have, whatever they've thrown at them, whether they went big in the beginning and got torched in drop coverage, i.e. Brook Lopez, who's basically unplayable this series, then they switch it up, they go faster, they go a little bit smaller, they bring in Bobby Portis. They have him at the 4 and 5 with Giannis, and that matchup gets torched. And it's just there's just too many there's too many advantages that the Pacers have over the Bucks. They just shoot better, they're faster, they make better decisions down the stretch. It's just bad, man. Like they just cannot stop the Pacers. Yes, Giannis has looked amazing. He's all world, putting up 30 and 15 in his sleep, but when you have, Doc Rivers still continuing to play Brook Lopez extended minutes, who he just can't move. He's too old, too slow. He's going to be a walking target every time down. Anytime somebody gets him, Nembhard, Howley, Siakam, they're going right at him because he cannot move his feet. So if the Bucks want to have any chance, you cannot play Brook Lopez for more than any extended minutes during this game. Kuzma's jump shot is still non-existent. I like the aggression he had in game 2, getting to the cup. But again, it's not enough. And when you have Siakam, Halley, Nembhard, Miles Turner torching the drop coverage, Miles Turner bailing them out, you get effort and intensity from, TJ McConnell, Thomas Bryant. You just got all these advantages for the Pacers to me that make it damn near impossible for the Bucks. The only chance the Bucks have of even winning a game, you get a vintage Dame, or the role players when the role players in Indiana come to Milwaukee, they cool down. If they cool down and you get some kind of, upgrade from Dame Lillard from what you saw in game 2, which I know he's coming back from his blood clot thing, and he's a super soldier playing as long as he did. But the only way that they win a game is if the role players cool down going on the road, or vintage Dame comes out. That's the only way they're winning. If not, they're probably going home in 4 games. But it looks like Zeno joined up, so I'm going to get Zeno's thoughts on this Bucks and Pacers series. How we doing, Zeno? It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I saw this, what's cool, you guys doing this live stream, and I was like, you know what? I want to jump in because I've been wanting to talk about like playoffs and everything. Actually, firstly, before I speak on this, what series have you done already?
We've gone through pretty much all of them, minus the Bucks, Pacers now, and Clippers, Nuggets. So we've done everything else.
Okay. Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is unlucky Giannis. That's what I have to say on that. I have the Pacers in 6. Now, if I went back, I'd probably have the Pacers in 5. Giannis is playing out of his mind, as you already said. I already came into this series kind of realizing, I'm not gonna lie, Indiana, people really underestimated you. You really are the 3rd best team in this in the East. The Knicks, I don't respect them nearly as much as I respect Indiana's Pacers because their offense is so lethal. It's so lethal, and that's why this Pacers series, this Bucks Pacers series, KPJ should be now that Dame is back. No, I was gonna say KPJ should have been starting over Ryan Rollins because they need the ball handling, they need the playmaking, they need the passing around Giannis, they need the shooting. Ryan Rollins is just a POA guard, which I mean, at this point, the Pacers are going to chainsaw your defense anyways. There's no reason for you to be trying to stop that from happening. But I don't really have much else to say. This kind of feels, I gotta be real with you, this series kind of makes me feel the same way as I feel like the Cavs, Heat, the OKC Thunder, Grizzlies. Well, no, that series is crazy. I think that team is crazy. But like the Cavs, Heat, you get me? Where like it's just one team beating on the other team because they're just better. And I really just think that's the case. I think the only reason why it doesn't seem like that is because Giannis is keeping it close. But outside of that, it's really just one team beating the other team because they're better.
Mm-hmm.
You got any thoughts, King Speech, on the Bucks and Pacers series?
Bucks and Pacers. Oh yeah. Well, right now the Bucks are looking offensively a little sloppy. I see they got Dame back. Getting going back home. Maybe. Wait a minute. They actually lost the first two at home, right? Yeah, they did. No. Pacers were home. Pacers were home. So they do get a chance to go back home. Yeah. But they are offensively and like they look like they can't stop the Pacers. They're not like defensively. That's the problem. Offensively, they're a little too predictable. Look, Giannis is vintage Giannis. Dame will give you what he can give you. At that Kuzma had and that zeros he did in first game one. Kuzma scored 22 points in a quarter. He needs to be that Kuzma. Bobby Portis is doing his thing. But it seems like they have no answer for all of the scorers. The Pacers throw so many punches at you. They play at such a good pace. So that's why they've taken control of the series. I picked the Bucks. Still think the Bucks got a chance, but they have got to get back to some semblance of championship Bucks. And I know most of that team is pretty much gone. I mean, and then Lopez can give you what he can give you. Middleton is gone, and he wasn't even vintage Middleton. But they need Kuzma to be consistent the rest of the series, and I think they have a chance. They probably could win in 7, but if that happens, I think that's the problem. Pacers are going to come out no matter what, offensively swinging, and the Bucks have to almost play a perfect game to even win any of these games. So let's just see. I mean, it's that never underestimate the heart of a champion. There's still a little bit left in that building. So
it's a lot of ifs for the Bucks. But
yeah, it is. It is. I just still respect their championship pedigree. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I respect the heart of a champion, but there's a time where you have to realize they're just better than you. They're just better than you. And I'm not gonna blame Giannis for the loss of this series because realistically, Giannis is going out there being the best player in the court by far. But at a certain point, when every other auxiliary thing in that series goes to the other team, I can't say anything. Like better pass and playmaking. The paces, better shooting, paces, transition, paces, half court offense, paces, defense, paces. What can Giannis do? There's only so much Superman can do in a situation like this. That's how I feel.
Pacers might be his kryptonite, so we're gonna see. But another closer series, we're gonna talk about Clippers.
Oh
and Nuggets.
yeah.
Honestly, probably one of the best series that's out right now. One of my favorites personally to watch. I'm going to kick it over to Ron Dog to start us off on what he's got. What are your thoughts about the Clippers Nuggets? You are a big Kawhi guy.
I am.
He had a vintage Kawhi game.
He did. Well,
I'll leave the floor for you.
Well, yeah, game 1, they lost by 2 or 3 points. It was a really good game, but Murray, Michael Porter Jr. and them all actually decided to show up for game 1. Game 2, Kawhi was just in his prime. He was hitting everything, really. It didn't matter if he was double teamed or not. Mid-range three-pointer, it was going in. And then a stat that I saw today about him in game 2, on 59 possessions, he had 39 points. And then he had a true shooting percentage of 92%.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kawhi, man. Shout out to Kawhi.
He along with Derrick Rose is one of the big what ifs if Kawhi was healthy. he would have a lot more accolades as some players who get talked up more. But he is a master at the mid range. He's a master with his footwork. Great defense. As long as Kawhi plays good and James Harden and then Big Zoo come in and give him some fouls, and as long as Norman Powell don't shoot butt like he did last game, these guys should win in about 6 or 7. I got the Clippers.
Before I kick it to our two other guests, I'm gonna just say this. I think the Clippers are a better team. I think this version of the Denver Nuggets, albeit still sneaky good, still one of the best offenses in basketball, they're very compromised on the defensive end. That being said, they have shown instances in this series where they can clamp up for stretches of the ball game. But when you're playing against this version of the Clippers, it's tough. Harden was doing his damage in game 1, albeit it didn't result in a win.
Yeah.
He still showed the limitations that the Denver Nuggets have defensively, and that's mainly their ball pressure. Their ball pressure really isn't the best, and obviously their rim protection is to be desired. But it did take a damn near perfect game from Kawhi Leonard to beat you in game 2. So if I'm the Nuggets, I'm going into games 3 and 4 and throughout the rest of this series thinking, this man had to be damn near perfect to beat us. And we didn't really play our best basketball either. Nikola Jokic, I think he also has another gear. Like, we haven't seen him play like desperately like he kind of did, toward the end of that Minnesota series last year. I still think he's being a little bit passive. He's definitely being sloppy with the basketball, all things that I think he'll definitely clean up. He's too talented of a player, too gifted as a passer to continue to be so freelance with the ball. But it's, again, attributed to the Clippers defense. They have one of the best defenses in basketball, whole lot of switchable wings. You got Kawhi, you got Nicholas Batum, you got Derek Jones, and all of them. Like, you just have a lot of different very things you can throw at them. Even Ben Simmons, is anemic as he is on the offensive end, he can come in and do some things defensively. They just have bodies that they can throw at Denver.
Definitely.
But again, Gordon has shown that he can hit the 3 a little bit. Michael Porter Jr., when he engaged, obviously hitting those skip passes, rebound the heck out of the ball. Like, these are some very evenly matched teams. But if I had to say it, I would still give the edge to the Clippers because I think they're just a little bit more talented, and I trust them more on the defensive end. So even though Jokic is the best in the world, I still got the Clippers in this series, and I think it's going to go Clippers in 6.
Yeah.
What we got, King Speech? Or he might be muted. He might not be back yet. Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm looking at the series. It's a very even matchup, right? It's kind of a contrast in styles, and then you got 2 guys who you can go to for offense. Like a big duel between the Joker and Kawhi. I've always said I appreciate about Denver. They play a very methodical style. I said Westbrook is the guy you have to throw in that mix to do a little bit of improvising, a little bit of chance taking, and you see both games kind of went down to the wire. Westbrook kind of won that first game. He made a lot of plays, especially in regulation and overtime. I could see it just continue. Every game is going to be close. Between that and the Knicks series, right? Knicks Pistons. Those are the 2 games where I don't think I don't think a lead has been bigger than 13. There's a nice center matchup between Zubac and the Joker. Zubac has actually cemented himself as the top 10 center. He's not in Joker's class, but he's shown that, hey, I can handle the Joker myself. I can board with him and everything else. He can board with anybody. It's I think these guys kind of know each other pretty well as well. Coaching, I'm not gonna get at. Well, Adelman is a rookie. I guess he's pretty well groomed for them to make the move. And Ty Lue has been very solid all around. So I think it's going 7. I have the Nuggets in 7. Because again, heart of the champion thing. I'm gonna go with the team. The squad has won a championship. It's Michael Porter Jr. has to play better consistently. Aaron Gordon is playing great. Christian Brown is playing great. So who wins the chess match? Who gets that one guy that you don't expect to have a great performance and steal a game. I think that's who wins it.
Pardon.
Okay.
What you guys do, you know?
I mean, he pretty much said everything I wanted to say. Harden to me has been probably the second best player in the series. What Kawhi did yesterday was elite. That was one of the best tough shot making that we've seen in a long while. Him and Steph Curry just coming out and showing to play that they're here to play and stay. It's really nice to see. Jokic, the turnovers, a lot of them were because he was trying to make passes that the defense were not allowing him to make, right? So he likes to try and manipulate the defenses by doing no-look passes to specific places. But the defenses didn't care if he's going to try and hit the roller, or not hit the roller, but hit the person cutting to the rim. They were going to constantly play that side. Instead, he needs to now try and get up more threes. So, the open shooter, whenever he's touching the paint, he needs to hit those way more than he's trying to hit the cutter, because the defense is not allowing him to take those type of make those passes. That's the issue when it comes to his turnovers. Zoo has been showing for the past few years that he's actually one of the most consistent Jokic defenders. Has the size, can move his feet enough, is disciplined, doesn't jump too much on Jokic up fakes and stuff like that. So he's probably been this is a very good matchup if you want to defend Jokic. And then, as I said, for the Clippers side, I'm just happy that Kawhi is back, man. I'm just happy. I like watching Kawhi cook. He doesn't like watching Kawhi cook.
Yes.
So on that side, the Clippers, I think Clippers are going to win in 7. That's me. On the Nuggets side, what we need Jamal Murray to do better, honestly, because Jamal came alive in the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly. No, he played well throughout the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth, he was not playing that well. He needs to be there. He needs to be there in the fourth, because that's what the team really needs him for. I'm glad that MPJ was able to play well last game, because the game previous, don't know where he was. And Aaron Gordon's had a decent series. Not much you can do to Kawhi, so that's why I say he had a decent series. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody made good points. So, we'll see. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Ron? I thought you were.
Yeah. After 2 bad knee surgeries, he is shiftier than ever. Be running circles around them boys out there.
I just want him to finish an entire postseason run, however long or short it may be, just fully healthy, so we can just see, that version of Kawhi, do whatever he's going to do in the postseason.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I know you guys had some back and forth about the Pistons and Knicks, so I just want to kind of get y'all's thoughts, because I thought I saw in here somebody said Pistons in 7.
I have Pistons in. Let me check. I think I have them 6. Pistons in 6.
I have them in 6. I have them in 6.
And I know King Speech is our resident Knicks fan, so.
Oh, is he really? Oh,
yes.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Why that's why I said in the chat, I'm not arguing with you, because you're gonna be looking at it from a biased perspective. A lot of the Brunson calls that game was crazy, and watching Ausar literally get taken out of the game because he is grifting is crazy. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If you sit here trying to say what calls are illegitimate, I'm not arguing with you. That's not gonna happen. Because anyone who watches the game from an unbiased perspective understands what Brunson was doing was unethical. And I'm a Sixers fan, so I see unethical. I know what that means. I'm gonna be lover. I know what that means. I'm not gonna sit here and BS one side and not BS the other. I know when I'm saying stuff.
You're a Sixers fan, so you're a little bit biased as well. And look, the unethical to grip. No, I've heard the terms unethical and grifting. Now I can sit here. Now, again, I told you in the chat. I spit truth and facts. Like this is King Speech Bro. King Speech Bro stands 10 toes down on this. Look, I'm gonna be very objective. I try to be very objective. Cade Cunningham got 2 ghost calls in the first quarter. The Knicks. There's another fact: the Knicks didn't shoot a free throw until Brunson shot it. I think with about 2 minutes to go in the first half. So again, mind you, the Pistons are playing great physical defense. They're reacting to what the Knicks do very well, right? I think they pretty much put the 3 Knicks, like if you're gonna look at the 3 Knicks scored 10, OG, Cat, and Hart. Hart really, he's just an energy guy, but they put OG and they pretty much took OG and Cat out of the game. So it really was a lot of Brunson one-on-one. And again, he got Azar Thompson is a great defender, but he made a lot of rookie mistakes where the key to guarding Brunson is you got to be very shifty. I will admit one of those was a flop. And again, when I watch the Lakers and I'm watching the Celtics right now flop their way, throw elbows. Well, they just KP got hit with one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, I get it. Certain and this is the thing. I've always had this. Brunson is a superstar. You don't score 40 points in 4 straight playoff games when only 4 men in history have done it. West, Bernard King, Michael Jordan, and now Brunson, and not be considered a superstar or not be a superstar, whatever. That's just a fact, right? So Brunson is a very hard guard, and yes, he will do things like stop on a dime. That's one of those tactics that they're calling. They call if you're not paying attention and you run them over. Yeah, you're gonna get called a foul.
Can I say one thing? Wait.
Go ahead.
So you are aware that if you are taking a jump shot like a 3-point shot, you pump fake, like that, and you jump into the defender to initiate contact, and then you throw it up. That's not a foul, right? You know that.
It depends. It depends on defensive position. Go ahead.
The reason why I was saying that is because Brunson did that. I want to say 2 or 3 times to Osar, and I want to say 2 calls on him. That isn't a foul.
He got the 1 3-point. Go ahead.
In 20, no, I know. I'm just gonna. Sorry, I know I'm kind of speaking too much. In 2022, the defense was called the what's the name? The Coaches Association, I believe, literally said that they are not going to call those type of calls anymore, and they outlined it by showing the Luka one where Luka gets the defender up in the air, he jumps into the defender and initiates the contact and gets 3 free throws. That is something Brunson did that night, and that's why I say he does stuff that is grift. He does grift, and I think everyone who's not a Knicks fan can agree that he's one of the biggest grifters in the league. I'm not saying it because I hate Brunson. To me, Brunson is a top 4 shooting point guard in the league. I think he's a top 4 point guard in the league. I don't hate Brunson. Brunson's like 11th best player in the league to me. But to sit here and not believe that what he's doing is grifting is crazy to me.
I mean, you called it unethical. You called it unethical.
Unethical grifting. What other way?
Okay, no. See, you want to see? This is what King Speech does, right? Now you said, you made a good point, right? You said it's pretty much. Look, the leg kick is the Reggie Miller call, right? That's Reggie Miller used to do that all in the '90s, get people to fall, trip them up with the leg kick, get 3 free throws. This is the Luka Doncic call. Now look, Brunson about 2022, Brunson was still playing. I believe, he was still playing with Luka Doncic, right? So if he does that, he learned to do it. But Luka still gets a call like that or 2. So the rule is actually what the referees will do is look at the closeout itself, and if you don't give the shooter a fair chance to actually take that shot. Now I get what you say. He kind of did fall into it, but I think Azar was birdie. No, I think Azar was birdie. And landed, it wasn't. If it's an unnatural leg kick, right? That's an offensive foul. Not only is it an offensive foul, they didn't actually, depending on how the defender falls, look at it as a flagrant. Again, these are calls that have been corrected over time, but it's not. Just because you see him kind of hesitate and then fall into the defender, well, maybe he's trying to avoid contact while still getting up his shot. So we did get that call. We got it once again. Luca will get that call like 10 times. Nobody will say
respectfully, no one is talking about Luca. No one's talking about Shea. No one's talking about Embiid.
but
No
you
one's
call,
talking about. We are talking about no. I'm
but you
bringing
call
up
no.
Luka.
And I want you to. I got to preface this because I said Brunson is a superstar too. If Luca can get that call 10 times a season, why can't Brunson get it once? And it depends on what actually happens in the play.
And if I call that grifting, I don't care if it's Luca, LeBron, Jesus Christ, Jordan. I don't care. That's still grifting, and that's what I am. That is what I'm specifying. No matter what you say, he's a superstar, he's an ultra star, he's a mega star. It's still grifting. That is the premise here, and I'm saying that should not be a call. That should not be a foul. Just like how you
say one thing.
Just like how you.
Go ahead, Rondo. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know back 3 years ago they made that rule, but a lot of the point guards, they all still do it. They all still get called.
Thank you.
They can say as much as they want about, oh yeah, that rule, they can't do that, but they all still get away with it. Brunson's not the only one. I think Brunson's just not as liked. I think Brunson's just not as liked as most of them because Trey Young does it the most.
You think Trey Young doesn't get hate for that?
Oh,
Trey
yeah.
Not like Brunson.
Do it every game.
Huh? Trey Young, the only reason why Trey Young doesn't get hate for that like Brunson is because Trey Young is not in a good team. His team is ass. That's the only reason why. Literally, everyone, wait. In 2022, Trey Young was the most hated player in the league. Even, what was it? Steve Nash was hating on him because of that grifting. Literally, what you're saying here is that, because there's certain players that do the same thing and they don't get as much hate as Brunson. Usually the hate also increases the better you are as a player. There's certain players that are outliers, like Julius Randle, who just gets hate for breathing, Rudy Gobert that gets hate for breathing. But for the most part, all of those the better you are, the more hate you get. Shea gets hate for grifting when he's where he gets 9 free throws compared to some players that be grifting and got more free throws than him. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. I'm trying to explain that is not the sport. Those calls he's getting is not fair. And I agree. The K2 goals calls, I agree to. That's not fair. But I'm trying to be objective here. You're trying to explain to me, what's called when he kicks his feet out or when he falls into the defender, it might not necessarily be a call, but it could be a call too. I say it shouldn't be a 50-50. It should be a no call because you are initiating contact, not the defender. And that is literally in the sport.
It just depends on what ref it is that night.
If
a rule can be interpreted in a way where a defense was called one night, the offensive player can get that call, and then another night the offensive player can't get that call, there's something wrong with the rule.
Dino, I just want to say, right? You said we went down to players who also do it, right? Rondo made a good point. A lot of point guards do it. My point is, right, it seems like you're singling out Brunson because you use the term unethical. Now, if you can say SGA, Luka, Trey, all these guys are unethical with their foul baiting as well, then I'll say, okay, right, I respect your point. See, as a Knicks fan, and again, you got to look, I'm a long-time Knicks fan, 30-something years. Mm-hmm. It seems like when the Knicks get a call in a big game, everybody talks. I mean, I've seen the posts. I've seen the posts. And, go ahead.
Please. I don't know what it is with Knicks fans. Bro, people hate on the Lakers for the same thing. The Celtics for the same thing. You guys are not the only ones who catch the hate.
But I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I just met you tonight, but I didn't hear you use the word unethical about any. And in this whole conversation, you didn't say, you know what? Yeah, Trey Young is unethical when he does that as well.
Big Nights. Did I not literally talk about Trey Young being the most hated player in 2022? Did that not come out my mouth? Thank you.
Yeah, but you're using other people's opinion. You didn't use your own opinion to say that his foul baiting is unethical.
I literally explained how he used to do the same thing as Brunson. If Brunson does it and it's unethical, how the hell is Trae Young doing it and not unethical? It's clear. I thought that was kind of
Okay,
obvious.
I think I just wanted you to use the adjective. That's what I mean. You know, again, look.
I didn't know I had to use the adjective. I thought it was kind
I
of
mean,
obvious.
you know what you did. What you did was you said that because his team isn't very good. Again, you would never know that because as a Knicks fan too, right? Even though the Knicks are 16-5 and over the last since that playoff series against Trae Young. Trae Young beats us one time and they own the Knicks. See, look, I guess I am. No, let me say this. Let me say this. I am very sensitive when it comes to narratives. This goes against my team because you know, if you check my channel, there was one post I made where I said, "Will the Knicks be treated fairly?" Because at one point in the season when we had the 4th best record in the league, the metrics through the roof. And everybody would call the Knicks. And this is before we played, we played Cleveland once and we played Boston once. But we had the 4th best record and people were treating us like we were a lottery team. So again, I will get
to tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason, what is your record against?
No, okay. Again, I just said when I made the post, the Knicks were like 0-2. We played OKC. I think we played OKC later that week. Almost beat them, lost in the 4th quarter. You know, again, our record against the top 3 is.
How was you against the Celtics?
We were at the time I made the poster. We were 0-1. So against the Celtics, we were 0-4. Now look. All right, you're right. Over the last few years, we played the Celtics pretty even. And I can admit, I've made another post where I said the Celtics have our number. Yet, and again, we have to play our A game, which we're not. Trust me, I can tell you this: we're not playing it at all. You know, we could give them a series, but right now, the way we're playing, no, we will get our doors knocked over.
The reason why people are giving your team a hard time is because your team was specifically built to beat the Celtics, and from what we've been seeing, that is not possible. And
I get it. We can have that's a different discussion, and I can have that discussion as a Knicks fan. I do that on my channel. I actually got to make a optimistic Knicks fan. It's Wednesday, so I better make my optimistic Knicks fan again, and I'm gonna call it like I see it. The Knicks playing like we're playing now will get our doors rocked, and we probably won't even beat Detroit. That issue is Tibbs and his stair rotation and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot going on there, and again, I can address that because trust me, I love and I don't want to have a Knicks channel. I have a general basketball talking channel. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so yeah, we have struggled against the better teams. Now we stomped Denver twice. We beat even though Memphis fell off, but back when Memphis was the 2 seed, we beat them pretty handily.
People weren't believing in Memphis either, so you're.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just think.
Wait. Denver is fair. Denver is fair, but no one was believing in Memphis. What other team did you beat that are ahead of you? Because you didn't beat. I know you didn't beat the Cavs. I know you didn't beat the Celtics.
We almost.
I know you didn't beat the Rockets. I know you didn't beat the OKC. I know you. Did you beat the Lakers?
We didn't beat the Lakers. We didn't beat. I don't believe in the Lakers either.
So that's 6 teams you guys could not beat, and you were
6.
surprised.
You said 6. It's 1, 2, 3. I don't. First of all, I believe the Lakers are beneath us.
OKC, Lakers. Okay.
Yeah. We can get into that. Oh, look.
You can't be a team.
I gotta plug something. I don't know. Big Nines. Did you hear? T Perfect from the FY Go James Kingdom invited me to have a Kobe versus LeBron debate and on Saturday. So yeah, so they invited me to Go James Kingdom to debate just I'm gonna put my Kobe, and I got, I already know what he's coming with, a lot of stats. So, look, again, it's I got him close, but I got Kobe with the edge, and I'm gonna tell him why. But
OKC, Celtics, the Cavs.
It's 4 teams. It's 4 teams. The Lakers, we didn't beat the Lakers, so the Lakers were the 6th best.
The Rockets, did you guys beat the Rockets?
We beat the Rockets once. They beat us close in the first game.
Okay, so you beat one team, but the
that's the thing, right? You're right.
The thing is, and this is what I'm trying to emphasize: if you are specifically built to beat a team, and then you never beat that team, and any team that is within that level, how can people believe in you?
Well, let me.
No matter the world believe in you,
and that's the thing.
You never give.
But that's the thing. I don't care if they. I don't care if they believe in us. Look, you're a Sixers fan, and I keep hearing that if the Sixers were healthy, they would have washed the Knicks last year. Okay, here's the problem: the Sixers are never healthy. They, I mean, come on, like Joel.
The funniest thing is the Sixers are usually healthy in the first round. It's the second round that we're not usually healthy.
Well, at the end of look, Joel Embiid has been in the league for 11 years. Mikal Bridges has been in the league 7 years.
Embiid with one knee and half a face was the best player in the series.
Was he? But he scored 7 points in the fourth quarter. You can't see. That's the thing.
Okay.
If you're gonna have a point, if he was so, he couldn't even. That's the thing. Forget scoring. No rebounds in the fourth quarter. Say again.
And he was the best he was the best defender in the series. What does that have to do with?
He gave. Wait a minute. He was getting washed in the fourth quarter. Hartenstein was making. The problem is with Embiid. Of course, he's the best. First of all, he's the best talent in the series. But the problem with Embiid is he ran out of gas because he wasn't in shape. And that's the thing. And if you cannot be the best, sir. Zenon, you cannot be the best player. You cannot be the best player when you average less than 2 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, what are we talking?
The reason why we lost that series is because as soon as Embiid left the court, half of his feet left the court, we instantly tanked as an offense and defense.
You got Paul Reed as your backup. Understood. We had Mitchell Robinson as a backup.
I hope you know. As Embiid stepped onto the court, we won those minutes. It was as soon as Embiid left the court, we created as an offense. If I remember, we had like a 60 offensive rating and like an 130 defensive rating. How do you win a series like that?
But how did you win when your best player gets 1 point a game in the fourth quarters? See, you gotta take
ignoring what I said. Fair.
No. First of all, that's a testament to the lack of depth that you had. Exactly. No, and again, let's rehash a series from that. Yeah.
Hold on, real quick. Yeah, we probably gonna have to end this here in a second. Love the back and forth. You definitely
bro, you see I'm warming up. You see I'm warming up.
We gotta get Zeno on Thursday
because I got a rep for my man Kobe, bro. They kill him on that channel. And again, I just want to look again. When we have GOAT debates and whoever, it's all subjective. Again, we do the woulda, coulda, shouldas. But yeah, I gotta get the spar. Don't take it personally, Zeno. I love you. I actually respect you and like your takes, man. You know your stuff. But yeah, one thing I do is like, sure do.
Yeah. But yeah, you want to plug tomorrow and Saturday night?
Okay, yeah. So tomorrow I actually kind of would love if somebody could come up and give me a little 10 minutes about Kobe versus LeBron. We could just let me when you get in the ring, you got to spar. You know what I'm saying? Before you have a good bout, you got to spar. So if anybody wants to come up and represent LeBron for 10 minutes, but the subject is going to be about the awards, right? Congrats to Jalen Brunson. I know we giving him crap, but he won Clutch Player of the Year. I think it's well deserved. Houston game, Philly game. You know from that Philly game, he hit that big three, and then he passed it out to OG for the game winning three. So congrats to that. I think I actually don't see any omissions. I will preface by saying I hope Dyson Daniels wins Defensive Player of the Year over Draymond. I don't think we need Draymond again, but it looks like Draymond probably is going to win. But Dyson Daniels did something historic with the steals. Bro. Yeah, But I would like to see another guard because I think in my lifetime I've only seen 5 guards win. Alvin Robinson, Gary Payton, Marcus Smart, and
respect.
Of course,
again. Jordan. Jordan actually won it the year before I started watching basketball.
Okay.
To be honest, but yeah.
So we ain't respecting Moncrief. All right.
Oh, did Moncrief win? Moncrief probably won when he won in 80 something.
Twice he won it twice.
Yeah, he was.
I want to say 84 and 85.
84 and 85. So that's before. Look, I didn't watch sports until 86. I'm only 46, so I was probably like 5 or 6 when that happened. But I would like to see Daniels because Daniels should have been up in there for the most improved as well. Like Dyson Daniels is a menace when it comes to and I think the fact that they didn't. I hope the fact that they didn't miss the playoffs doesn't get held against them. But but yeah. So I'm just gonna talk about the awards. The awards and the criteria and everything. What I think the criteria should be, especially MVP. I want to talk about. Because a lot of people still have the MVP criteria that You know, they still don't get what the voters are looking for. It's not about the stats; it's about what the voters are looking for. And again, when props to the OKC, they won 68 games. When you look in history, only 6 teams have reached that mark, and that's the clincher right there. So, but yeah. So I'm just gonna have a discussion of that, and I would like to just practice on that LeBron Kobe thing. So if y'all know anybody that wants to pull up to the stream and debate for LeBron against Kobe, yeah, it's all in fun. All in fun, man. Never, so. And then Saturday night, I'm just gonna pull up to the stream and say, hey, well, we doing this or not? Because they haven't really contacted me on email. I know I saw Johnny hit my comments, so they're looking. Johnny looks to hit the comments. Carcino for Life's in my comments now on some of my videos. So you tag the big boys, they will pay attention. You know what I'm saying? You tag the big platforms enough. Okay, you getting these tags on YouTube. Oh, what is he talking about? Yeah, so I think they saw when I broke down when I hit Lamont with the mid-range thing. So yeah, so that me and T Perfect will be debating on Saturday night. Go Chase Kingdom.
Okay, well, so definitely check out 10 Toes Down tomorrow. See the awards criteria, and then Saturday night. Are they doing on Goat James or on?
Probably on. Well, they simulcast the both. So
okay, so
FYF and you Go James. I started getting in the Go James chat because I think they got a little bit more of a loyal follower. Loyal following in their chat. So
So shout out to Goat James Kingdom, the Kingdom over there, and shout out to FYF. So.
Props to Orlando for hanging around with Boston, man. I told you, Orlando's a tough team. Watch out for them next year when they get their whole squad back.
Oh yeah. I'm about to go downstairs and watch that game. Finish watching that game up. So
more like learn to shoot, but
shooting is their issue.
I mean, they need some offense desperately. But appreciate you guys coming up. Sorry I had to drop out. Had to do something for the wife real quick. But thank you guys, and thanks Big Nige for holding it down while I was gone. And we'll be back next week. And like you said, check out 10 Toes Down tomorrow, and we'll definitely be in the chat. Or I know I'll definitely be in the chat Saturday for the Kobe versus LeBron debate. So check those things out. Appreciate you guys, and we'll be back next week.
All right.